Hey, it's been a while. 2 months and some change since my last video, and took a 2 month break on shorts until Lethal Company rolled around to finally kick me back into gear. So, where have I been? Did I burn out that fast? Get bored of content creation? What gives? Well, that problem's twofold actually, and for the shorts real quick, there's sort of a dilemma there. So looking at my catalog of shorts, if that's what you want to call it, outside of a couple of Overwatch and a Binding of Isaac clip that I uploaded to TikTok and nowhere else,
don't forget to leave a tip for old Mr. Crab.
the rest of them are League of Legends, with no voice, and just a quick little edit that I find funny, and hopefully you do too if you're here somehow. The issue being, I also haven't touched League of Legends in about 2 months, until just recently. I picked up for a single ARAM and no more. Yep, I'm kind of 2 months League sober. It's been a tough journey, and frankly there's been times where I've reconsidered, but so far we're holding strong. But in all seriousness, I just haven't really felt like playing it, and most of my group of friends haven't either. Which brings us to the dilemma. Obviously I've been playing other games in that meantime, one in particular that we'll get to in a moment. But I don't know if I should steer away from the shorts that have been successful. I'm not exactly at a point where I'm hitting high enough numbers anyway, but if I had to guess, I probably won't ever hit high numbers if I pivot to a new game every other week or so, like I actually do with games in general. So for anybody watching who actually gives a shit about this, what would you want to see? Should I hold off until I inevitably go back to League, or just upload whatever flavor of the month I'm feeling that also happens to be funny or entertaining in some way? Would you like just League of Legends? Or are the Lethal Company TikToks that I've been uploading recently been fun to you if you for some reason happen to be watching both of those at the same time? If you have any specific opinion on it, please let me know in the comments or wherever. Now, with that out of the way, let's get to the real reason I haven't been around lately. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I've been sucked into World of Warcraft way more than I ever have, and it's been rough, to say the least. The worst part of this being I only have myself to blame for it, really. World of Warcraft again is kind of a time waster, not really trying to accomplish anything, but this time around it's different. I actually want to do stuff. I want to progress and do some Mythic Plus or Raids or something. It's a lot different than it used to be for me. Since that little clip, I've not only done plenty of Mythic Plus that I get sick of seeing, not only the likes of Underrot, Vortex Pinnacle, and especially Neltharian's Lair. I've also done plenty of Season 3 Mythic Plus with both Wings of Dawn of the Infinite, Throne of the Tides, so on and so forth. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be some big shot, I'm out here doing the hardest content there is now. But I've done relatively high level keys, pushing upwards to 20s, and I actually have done a 20 now. Mainly because the only reason I want to do them at all is for gear for my actual objective, which we'll get into in just a minute. Not like the title gives it away or anything. And while I missed the Aberrus train, the same cannot be said for amirdrassil, where I cleared all of amirdrassil on normal the second day it was out, and quickly went to trying to clear heroic. But why now? What sparked all this feverish wild progression when I hadn't even stepped foot into a normal raid since Worlds of Draenor, where I got kicked seemingly out of nowhere of Hellfire Citadel? I don't know if you're out there, random raid leader, but I still remember. The wound still hurts from that day. So in my last wild video, I was mostly showing footage of me playing a mage and leveling it. The fate of that mage we may touch on later, but we'll see how things go. And a warrior, a madcore orc named Balthunk, a random name that Blizzard itself gave me. I couldn't believe it when I saw it either. Now that warrior had been my main for the entirety of Season 2, and was one who got me my Keystone Mask for Season 2 after making that first video. So that warrior will always have a little bit of a special place in my heart just for that. And I mean, his name's Balthunk, I mean, you can't really beat that. But then Season 3's tier set came out and they decided warrior would be more fun if you only press 2 buttons over and over again. So I was in the market for a new main, one with a tier set that didn't give me Carpal Tunnel, but still feels actually good to play. And while it feeling good to play is questionable to some, to be honest, this is where the new main comes in. 60-watt Bulb, the Zandalari Troll Retribution Paladin himself. Just pretend we haven't been watching footage of me playing said Paladin this whole time. Just work with me here. Warrior had its time in Legion onwards. Death Knight was the first character I mained, if you can even call it that. So now it was finally time for Paladin to have its time in the sun, leading us straight into the reason it had to be one of those three and nothing else. A new legendary on the horizon that was sure to blow all three of these classes for the entirety of the season. Fyr'alath the Dream Render. A bright shiny new two-handed axe from Fyr'alath itself, with obviously insane stats and potentially crazy passive and on-use abilities slapped on for good measure. Before you say anything, I recorded this part before I realized that the axe was kind of trash, but it's still legendary and it's pretty cool, so let's just pretend that it's cool, right? We're pretending a lot here, but I need you to work with me for this to work. But seeing as this is a legendary weapon, it's not exactly going to be easy to get your hands on the thing. It's a long multi-step process that'll make sure to keep you busy for quite a while. With the first step being something that has absolutely nothing to do with you, because it's already done. Mythic Fyr'alath had to be killed by one of the top guilds in the world for the first time during the race to World First. And this race was crazy, to be honest. Frankly, I haven't ever actually watched any of these for any amount of time, but this one was an emotional roller coaster to watch, with it all coming down to the two top guilds being neck and neck at a single-digit health percentages for hours on end until finally, Echo killed that lizard. And while their Death Knight tank picked it up from that kill as a guaranteed group loot drop, the rest of us plebs who won't be killing Mythic Fyr'alath have to run around praying to get it to drop from Fyr'alath as personal loot. Thank God, because I wouldn't want some random fucker trying to steal from me. Starting the next weekly reset. And while the drop rate for this legendary is obviously going to be pretty damn low, things aren't that bleak. Because every difficulty level has its own individual drop chance for the axe, with the chances going up the higher you go. So potentially 4 separate chances to get this bad boy right or wrong. You see, when I started this little quest, it was very early in the patch. Like I said, I killed normal in the first 2 days. Which means 2 things for me. First off, LFR was coming out on a weekly basis and taking a week gap in between the final wing and the one prior. Which means I can't even attempt to kill Fyr'alath on LFR for weeks at a time. Which turns out might not even matter, but at the time I thought it did, so let's just pretend it does and make sure that nobody has to know that part. And second off, the best guilds in the world had barely scraped by killing Mythic Fyr'alath after days upon days of pulling him for over 8 hours a day. So Mythic was probably not going to happen for me. Not to mention the server I play on is a barren wasteland and Mythic's locked to your realm, so yeah, no Mythic. So that just leaves normal and heroic. 2 out of 4 ain't bad, right? It shouldn't be too bad to scoop up those 2 with no raid experience prior in a class I haven't played at all since Miss Pandaria. And I was actually partially right in that assumption, because I managed to get into some party finder groups and got my normal raid finished that first week. Like I've said like 3 times now. I don't know why I put it here so many times. Hey, it's post-editing me again. Just to say that the original idea was I was going to do normal and get the Ember of Fyr'alath from that, but instead I'm just going to sort of jump into it with this, because I haven't touched normal in weeks. Alright, let's get into it. Right, so this is a Greater Ember of Fyr'alath, the bad luck protection for the axe itself. And even though no one really knows how these little fucking things work, what we do know is that these will increase your chance to get the axe permanently. So even if you don't get it week 1, like some people inevitably will, at least your chances are getting higher. And also for every boss you kill on Heroic and Mythic, you have a small chance of getting a Lesser Ember, which does the exact same thing, but lesser. Pretty self-explanatory, really. I actually get one during this fight, oddly enough. Play that clip editing me. So normal went down relatively easy, only took me 2 days. Onwards to heroic, right? Wrong again, and I wish this wasn't becoming a theme. Because this is where Party Finder's bullshit rears its ugly head. You see, the WoW community, or at least the raiding community that pugs it, is kind of stingy when it comes to who they take with them. If you want to get in these higher difficulty raids, frequently you'll want to be above the item level of the gear you get in the raid to start with, already have cleared the whole thing, or maybe more. Ignore the fact that LFR isn't even fully out and people expect you to have cleared heroic in its entirety. It's fine. It's just how it works here, I guess. So while I was able to pretty cleanly clear the majority of boss on heroic through Party Finder pretty easily, Boulderon was a pain in the ass to get into a group for. And then whenever I did manage to get into a group, we'd go for 1 or 2 pulls. People would die from silly stuff more often than they probably should, to be honest. And suddenly the entire group is gone. Back to Party Finder to wait 30 minutes just to try and find a group that'll take me. Wait another 30 minutes for that group to fill with other people just trying to kill this boss. Get a pull in, group disbands, rinse and repeat. I'd be lying if I said I didn't lose some sanity during these portions of the video. But after doing this for way too fucking long, I just decided to go off and do literally anything else in my time. Did some Mythic Plus, got my Keystone Master mount, that's pretty cool. Did some other preparations for what I would need to get if I did manage to get the axe, and waited for the next reset to try and get some upgrades out of the vault, and try to get this heroic clear again. So the next week rolls around, got my vault piece, got my Mythic Plus upgrades, let's go again. And Tuesday is looking to be the same story. Killed all the heroic bosses up with Smolderon, and got stuck again at this goofy sounding motherfucker.
Fyr'alath, obliterate my enemies!
Seriously, I cannot take this voice seriously. No offense to the voice actor, it's just the direction they went with him is kind of silly. So Tuesday ended up being a wash and I just gave up for the day. But Wednesday, I got pretty lucky. So it had been about an hour of the same nonsense, join a group, wait, disband, yada yada, you know the drill. But then a guild prog group popped up. And seeing at this point as I just wanted to actually kill the damn boss, and hopefully this group wouldn't be leaving after a wipe or 2, I just said fuck it and signed up for it, hoping for the best. And to my surprise, they actually let me in. And this guild would actually end up being my lifeline for getting sex, and I wouldn't even really fully appreciate that at first, because to be completely transparent, I was getting really sick of Party Finder bullshit at this point, and wanted nothing more than to be free of that hellscape for as long as possible. And truth be told, I expected to join this guild group in their Discord and hear the most toxic, vile shit known to man, because it's the WoW community, we all know what happens around here. But to my surprise, no. It's actually really relaxed and laid back for the most part. And in the 2 hours I was in the group, not only did Smolderon finally get killed, We also got T-Swift in that time. But bad news would strike again here, though. Since the guild only raids on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, so this is their last raid of the week. Meaning if I wanted to get my Fyr'alath kill on Heroic this week, I would yet again have to go to the Party Finder cesspool and pray I could get into a group. Now I could just wait until Tuesday, run it back with that guild who were chill with me signing up for next week, so I had a guarantee of getting into it, and potentially just wait and kill Fyr'alath then. But then I'd miss another week on the Heroic drop chance for the X. So of course, since I'm some sort of masochist or something, I trudged back into the cesspool. Hopefully this is the last time I have to pop in real quick, but I don't have footage of me with the Party Finder hellscape I was in. And also all the other footage has been just a requeer of Heroic, so I don't know why I'm pretending like it's all been a through line. But I don't have footage of that, so I'm just going to play some rock wipes that I still have saved, because I don't have the queer yet in the story, so we're just going to pretend I don't have it yet. Alright, anyway, continue. Cue another 4 days, including later that same night, of hours of doing the same shit I did with Smolderana all over again. Wait 30 minutes to finally get accepted into a group, 30 minutes for the group to form, pull once or twice, group disbands, do it all again. But then on Saturday, December 9th, I got lucky a second time that week. I was getting desperate at this point. Groups were either declining me or not making it past phase 1 in some circumstances, and the amount of groups available was shrinking since it was getting towards the end of the week. So I just started queuing for a group that was marked for ahead of the curve, just hoping that they'd make a mistake and let me in. For those who don't know, ahead of the curve is for killing Fyr'alath on Heroic, which obviously I had not done yet. Now, I don't know if it was a misclick, if the leader just sort of assumed I had it since I was queuing up for the group or what, but this actually worked after a bit. And it's not like the other people didn't have it ahead of the curve either. While we were waiting, I was actually checking people, and sure enough, almost everybody else had killed Fyr'alath on Heroic already. If I was going to kill Fyr'alath this week, it was going to be with this group. At this point, I had around 50 to 60 pulls on Fyr'alath alone, and had seen and dealt with everything from top to bottom of this fight. So at the very least, I wouldn't stick out like a sore thumb or anything. I just needed everyone else to play their parts, and we would get the kill. This is probably a good time to go over the actual fight itself, so let's do that real fast. Phase 1 is relatively straightforward, even on Heroic. All you have to do is avoid AoEs as much as possible, try not to murder people with those little funky lines on you, called places, for future reference, and take Fyr'alath to 70% as fast as possible before he burns the roots on the other end of the arena and kills you. Only real mechanics are dots that he puts on random players that ramp up in damage pretty fast, that healers have to get rid of before half your party suddenly falls over like the Black Plague hit again. And every now and then he'll tear a portal through reality, the dream, something, I don't fucking know. But either way, you need to get away from it before it kills you, so the whole party run back and forth from each side of the arena whenever he does this. Then you get a little burn phase where he's blasting the tree as a dragon and you gotta soak orbs and damage enough to get to phase 2. Self-explanatory, pretty easy, let's go to phase 2. Phase 2 is where shit gets scary. Y'all know those AoEs going around in phase 1, right? Yeah, so now you have a pack of morons walking through the arena. If they get hit by any of these mechanics and aren't healed enough, they turn into Screaming Souls, which will pulse damage throughout the raid. And also, they need to walk to the other end of the arena while being healed, preferably to full, to heal this giant tree that you're fighting on, because if the tree dies, so do you. Also, there's these big ads that spawn along with a small army of Screaming Souls that'll convert any good spirits that get too close to them while they're screaming. So it's a whole lot of ads, kind of like YouTube nowadays if you think about it. So phase 2 in summary is this song dance while landing. He smacks tanks around a little bit, giving the DPS healers lines while they pray they don't hit the spirits, walking across like a bunch of crazy people, spawning an army of spirits, rinse and repeat one more time, and then you're off to phase 3. Phase 3 isn't mechanically hard necessarily, but at this point you've been doing this for about 8 to 9 minutes depending on your raid's gear and DPS output, so needless to say, tensions are high. So in phase 3, he lands his dragon again, and instead of burning the tree, he wants to burn you. With our old buddy Blazes back here again, you also have certain players get targeted with these tornadoes in a line attack that Fyr'alath himself does. Pretty simple stuff, right? Wrong, and I swear this will be the last time I have to say that. Because now instead of a pack of ghosts moving across the arena, now you have to worry about these little things, the seeds of amirdrassil. Because these seeds are now the only way for you to survive a massive raid-wide AoE that he'll do every now and then. The seeds will make a little zone that the raid has to stand in for high mitigation for these raid-wides. Only problem is, if these seeds get hit by any mechanic at this point, they'll get set on fire, damaging the entire raid and giving you one less seed to use against his roar. So certain players have to pick up these seeds and run around praying that none of their party feel particularly dastardly for not winning their tier piece on the last boss and decide to direct their line straight into a seed. Also, holding a seed does not make you immune to being targeted by blazes or tornadoes or anything like that. So then you also have to worry about being a seed holder yourself and having to run away from people to not hit their seeds or any of that stuff. It's just a whole fucking mess. Turning phase 3 into a frantic race to the finish trying to burn down however much HP Fyr'alath has left while having miniature heart attacks constantly watching and running a seed around trying to keep it out of harm's way like your newborn child and still have enough time to drop said seed into a good spot for your raid and not all flame you for being a fucking moron. Jesus. But hey, once you do that a couple of times, you're done. You got ahead of the curve. Now let's get back to the story, shall we? This group knew what they were doing. No hitting the morons, people weren't dying to the rift in phase 1. Things were looking good. And then someone who was meant to put down their seed didn't put it down and everyone died for their fucking sin. Well, that's it. Everyone's gonna leave. Back to the party finder I go. God, I fucking hate... Wait, no one's left? Everyone's actually staying and is ready to pull again? People aren't screaming at each other past the initial fuck up? So we pull again, everyone does put down their seeds this time, and Fyr'alath actually goes down. Ahead of the curve is mine. No X though, who would've guessed? So with Heroic under my belt and LFR happening to come out the next reset, this meant I now had 3 potential chances to get the X drop. So only a matter of time before I got it now, right? I wish it was that simple, or that I could tell you that I got it next reset or something magical like that, but nope, that's not the case. Alright, I lied. This is the last time that editing me is going to be here. It is currently January 18th, and I have yet to actually get my axe, so this is going to be a 2-part video. It's kind of not as well edited as I had wished it was, but it's been nearly 2 months, and I was kind of expecting to have the axe by now, so I would actually have the footage and all that stuff to actually do this, but Blizzard's being a bit of a bastard to me, so... Also, if you enjoyed this, like, more storytelling kind of format I tried this time, then let me know if you, for some reason, happen to be watching this video and also watch my other ones. Which I doubt, to be honest. But maybe you did. Who knows? Hopefully you still enjoyed. If you would like to see more, or if you'd like to see part 2, then that'll be out at some point. Until then, I'll probably try something else with my next video, if it's not the part 2. We'll see what happens. But thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one, hopefully. Goodbye.